Now we will discuss how to move from research aims in the previous video to more specific questions or objectives. Okay, so to recall, okay, in a previous lecture, I already presented to you this picture where we start with a broad idea. Meron na tayong idea eh. Meron tayong lugar kung saan tayo nagtatrabaho. Tapos doon, meron tayong mga nakikitang problema. Meron tayong nakikitang gusto nating alamin. Okay, but we cannot address all of those problems in our thesis. We have to narrow down. So yun yung gagawin natin. So from our research aim, we see a research problem, we now have a research aim. How do we narrow down the research aim to a research question or objective? So that will be the topic for this video. So I will start with conceptual framework. A conceptual framework is a representation of the concepts, variables, and mechanisms in our study. Okay, so we start with concepts or constructs. Concepts are often not tangible. So for example, you want to investigate the accountability of government officials or organizational culture or teaching effectiveness or learning or whatever. So these are samples of concepts. They're often not tangible. Now, variables are the aspect of the unit of observation in which the concept expresses itself. Unit of observation here will depend on like tao ba yan or hospital or something. So that's the basis for your study. But the aspect of the concept, okay, that you want to investigate, the aspect in which the concept expresses itself, that's what we call the variable. So kunwari, ang gusto niyong tingnan accountability of government officials. Pwedeng tingnan ninyong aspeto ay yung policies on fund mismanagement. Kung organizational culture, pwedeng ang tingnan ninyo dress code kasi kasama yun sa organizational culture, di ba? So we're selecting aspects, okay, of our concept that we want to look at. Pag teaching effectiveness, pwedeng ang titingnan nyo ay yung amount of time devoted to solving higher order thinking tasks. Or if your concept or construct is learning, you can look at student scores in an exam. So these are now variables. So from concepts, we have variables. Notice that these variables, they can be measured in some way. So more on that later. And then mechanisms are the conditions under which the variables correlate or affect each other. So for example, stricter policies on fund mismanagement can decrease cases of graft and corruption, or higher exposure to higher order thinking tasks lead to better student performance in competitions. So dito, we are already relating variables. So we start with concepts which are not tangible. We identify aspects of them, okay, that can be measured. So yun yung variable. Tapos nun, yung relation between variables, that's the mechanism. And often, we represent the concepts through a model, like what we have here. Okay? So, pag dito, ang tawag natin dito ay independent variable. The independent variable causes the dependent variable. Or in other words, how the independent variable affects the dependent variable. Okay, we can also have a conceptual framework with two arrows. Okay, kasi ito single arrow lang, no? Independent variable affects the dependent variable. Or maybe we have two variables that are related to each other. So in this case, we want to see the association between variables. Okay, pag tumataas yung isang variable, tumataas din ba itong kabila? We're not saying anything about cause and effect. Basta sabay ba silang tumataas, sabay ba silang bumababa, or yung pagtaas ng isa, sabay ng pagbaba ng isa. So this is another possible model for our conceptual framework. So yan yung mga possible models. Of course, there are more complicated models. So I just want to share with you what we mean by a conceptual framework. Okay. Also, there is such a thing as theoretical framework. Many students are asking, ano pinagkaiba ng conceptual sa theoretical framework? So, for the conceptual framework, this is actually a roadmap or a diagram showing relationships between the concepts. The concepts meaning the variables that represent the concepts, no? So titingnan niyo kung um, ano yung relationship between variables. Pero sa theoretical framework, it provides the lens through which the variables are explored. So Lens, kumbaga marami kasing paraan na tingnan ng isang bagay. So for example, here we have theory of rational choice. People's actions are geared towards achieving maximum utility. So pwedeng ito kasi yung isa sa iniisip nating theory, no? That the actions of people are based on yung palagay nilang mas makakabuti sa kanila. So, pwedeng yan yung maging theory nyo. This is not a concept. Kasi yung concept, di ba, parang ganito siya. You can play around na ano yung mga related to each other. But here, there is an underlying theory na we assume that people's actions are geared towards achieving maximum utility. Or in learning, okay, a theory could be constructivism, where people learn by constructing knowledge rather than passively receiving information. So, kumbaga yung bata, hindi natin tuturuan, may tinatawag na behaviorism kasi na we learn by repetition. Okay? Ulit ka lang na ulit. Pero ito constructivism, this acknowledges na yung bata mismo, the child is constructing knowledge on their own. Okay? Kung ano mang ibigay natin sa kanila, okay? Hindi sila sponge na mag-absorb lang. Rather, they're constructing knowledge on their own. So, pwedeng yun yung ating theoretical framework na mag-underpin ng ating study. So, actually, in the current graduate school thesis template, the conceptual framework is used for quantitative studies and the theoretical framework for qualitative studies. Kasi, dun sa conceptual framework, babalikan natin, ito may mga variables. Okay? So, this is actually more common for the quantitative study. Okay? So, mostly involving statistics. Okay? But for qualitative studies, mahirap kasi mag-analyze ng ang qualitative data kung wala kayong panghahawakang framework. So we have to identify the lens through which the variables are explored. Ano ba yung ina-assume natin? So maybe we're assuming that people are acting towards kung ano mang makakabuti sa kanila. So pwedeng yun yung maging framework nyo. So meaning kung ano mang makita yung data sa field, ito yung mag-explain siguro ng mga makita ninyong data kasi yung mga tao, ginagawa nila yung makakabuti sa kanila. So, ito yung tinatawag nating theoretical framework. Okay. Now, we will move on to operationalization. What is operationalization? This is the process of translating concepts into phenomena that can be observed and measured. So, this is related to what I shared earlier about concepts and variables because how do we move or translate from concept to variable? That's what we call operationalization. All right. So there are three steps to that. First is we need to define the concept or construct. We also need to determine the variables to be measured and determine which scores each variables can assume. So for example, to define the construct, okay, a construct may have many aspects. So the researcher must decide which aspects will be included in the study. So again, we are narrowing down. Okay, hindi natin pwedeng gawin lahat. We have to narrow down. So example, let's say your construct or concept is citizens' political involvement. Napakaraming aspeto niyan. Pwedeng the trust that citizens have in politics, or the feeling of involvement in the political process. It could be knowledge about the political process, or the active role in the process, or voting behavior. So marami yan. So the researcher must decide which aspects will be included in the study. Another example in education, what if you want to look at students' engagement in the classroom? So there are many aspects that you can look at, pwede motivation to learn, participation in classroom activities, awareness of what's happening in the classroom, level of peer interaction. So these are just examples. So this is the first step that you have to again narrow down. You have to decide. You cannot look at all the aspects. So if your construct is this, what aspect will you investigate? Okay. So now that you can decide, or now that you've selected the aspects, you have to determine the variables to be measured. So the researcher must identify indicators that can be used to measure each variable. For example, for citizens' political involvement, knowledge about political process. So pwedeng ito yung variable mo, yung knowledge. Pag student engagement, pwedeng motivation to learn, pwedeng yun yung variable nyo. And then for the third step, you have to determine the scores for each variable. So, related to the previous slide, now the researcher must state possible scores for each variable. So moving forward from the previous examples, kunwari, yung knowledge about political process, pwedeng ang score niya will be the whatever is the score in a 40-point exam. Okay. Doon naman sa example ng student engagement, pwedeng yung score niya will be the weighted mean in a 6-item survey with the four Likert scale choices. Strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. So, identify nyo ngayon yung score. Okay. So, I also want to discuss the kinds of scores. So, maybe some of you, for sure, if you're taking statistics now or before, makita ninyo itong mga kinds of scores. Oops. So, the scores are either nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. For nominal, these are scores that cannot be arranged in any order or particular order. They can be called qualitative scores. So, for example, male, female, other, or boboto ba siya kay X or hindi siya boboto kay X, or pwede ring religion, pwedeng nationality. So, yan yung mga nominal. For ordinal, ma-order natin siya, there's a number. But there's no exact difference between two scores. Katulad nito, yung strongly agree and agree. Bakit no exact difference? Yung difference ng strongly agree sa agree, hindi naman nating masabi na equal siya sa difference ng agree sa disagree. Kasi depende rin naman sa tao, di ba? Iba-iba yung pananaw natin ano yung strongly agree tsaka agree. Alam lang natin mas mataas ang strongly agree sa agree. Pero yung difference ng strongly agree sa agree, hindi natin masabing mas malaki o mas maliit o equal sa agree, sa difference between agree and disagree. For interval scores, the differences between two consecutive scales is always the same, such as temperature. Di ba yung 30 degrees saka 35 degrees, 5 degrees yung difference niya, pareho lang yung difference niya sa 25 to 30 degrees, 5 degrees. Same with GWA. Okay, kung ano man yung grade weighted average nyo sa college, di ba? So, ang pagkakaiba ng 1.25 sa 1.5, ang difference niya will be the same as yung 1.25 sa 1.75. Okay? However, we cannot, there is no zero. Ano meaning ng no zero? Sa GWA, hindi natin masabi na ang score na 2 ay doble ng score na 1, na 1. Okay? Tapos sa temperature, hindi rin naman natin pwedeng sabihin na yung 30 degrees ay twice as hot as 15 degrees. Hindi, walang ganon. Okay? And that's because there's no absolute zero in the scale. Yung zero sa Celsius scale, that's actually just arbitrary na sinet natin na kung kailan nag-freeze ang water, yun yung zero. Pero hindi yun yung totoong zero in the physical world. Na yung totoong zero, yung talagang totally walang absence of heat. Okay, so for interval, basically there's no absolute zero. But for ratio scale, actually many of the examples that we have are ratio scale. Kung merong totoong zero katulad ng age, meron naman totoong zero yan, 'di ba? Pag age mo is zero, yun yung kapapanganak mo pa lang age is zero. Income is zero, wala kang income. Pulse is zero, walang pulse. So, election turnout is zero, meaning walang nag-turn out sa election. Pero, ang pinagkaiba kasi sa temperature, hindi mo pwedeng, pag sabi mong temperature is zero, walang heat. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na walang heat. Meron pa rin heat, maliit lang yung amount of heat. So, these are the kinds of scores that we have. The more that we go down, okay, the more information we have. Okay, syempre mas marami kayong makuha information dito sa age kaysa dito sa mga strongly agree. In other words, kung mas malaking makuha niyo sa income, kung tanungin niyo income kaysa income bracket. Okay, pag income bracket, nandito lang siya. Kunwari, income bracket niyo 0 to 10,000, 10,000 to 20,000. So, napunta siya sa ordinal. Pero pag tinanong niyo yung actual income, mapunta na yan sa ratio. And why do I have to discuss this? It's because the kind of scores that you have will also determine the kind of statistical tool that you are allowed to use.